What's up? And welcome back to another episode of Got Thoughts. This week we've got Adam and Garth, along with Brandon, of course. Episode 5. Man, was that the Saving Private Ryan of the Game of Thrones world? Um, Danny went full genocidal maniac on King's Landing. Geez, I think a lot of us saw that coming, but she did not hold back at all. What do you guys think?
No, she didn't. It was interesting that she waited until after the surrender bell sounded, uh, before she got into anything. But that was later on in the episode. There was a lot more that happened in the earlier stages of the episode that led up to that, her turn.
Yeah,
And I mean, the first initial thing that comes to mind when I thought of Danny made her heel turn was when she burned Varys alive.
Yep. Yeah, I told my wife that was her first act as the Mad Queen.
Yep, it was. And I thought it was cool that Tyrion kind of was like, "Hey, look, dog, it was me." But
why? Why?
Yeah.
Why did he have to tell her? Why didn't he just shut the fuck up and play it out?
Probably trying to save his own ass.
What? Like just kind of like get in front of it, kind of
That
deal?
or like, yeah, kind of. Hey, let me give you this info so you're not pissed at me, even though she still was.
Yeah. I don't know. That I thought that was what one of the more confusing parts to me is why he actually did, because he kind of seems to agree with Varys, but it's like he's scared to admit it.
Yeah, I think for basically the whole show, he's kind of been playing two different people. Like back a while back, he was basically Lannister loyal until they banished him and he killed his dad. But he was at that time, he was still kind of like, all right, sometimes we do fucked up shit and it's not good. And now he's basically that way with Danny.
I find it very strange. And not just with Tyrion, but like we've mentioned before, with a lot of these character arcs. So Tyrion is, the slogan for Tyrion Lannister is "I drink and I know things." And for the last, this whole season, he hasn't gotten a single thing right. If you think about it, and he's come from being this very witty, smart, Lannister who you would want to be your hand of the queen, hand of the king, and he's a fucking idiot now. If you think about it, and then if anything, you go back to how he became the hand of the queen. That's all because of Varys. Varys is the one that gave him this window of opportunity and helped get him over to Essos and brought up the idea of, who said that it's a he. It's, there's Daenerys over here. So I thought it was very poetic that he, kind of confessed to his one of his good friends, hey, I'm the one that fucking sold you out. I'm sorry. But at the same time, it just seemed very uncharacteristic of Tyrion Lannister, at least the Tyrion Lannister that we got to know seasons 1 through 6. And so I watched it again a little bit today when I was working on some stuff, and I don't understand what the Double D's are doing with this show. I don't understand. We'll get into it more, but like, where the fuck is Bronn? What's going on? Like, what? There's a lot of stuff, and Tyrion Lannister, his actions are one of the things that leave me scratching my head.
What do you mean, where is Bronn? I mean, we'll get to Tyrion in a minute. Bronn's kicked back at a whorehouse somewhere, waiting out the war.
So is his character arc done, or what is he gonna do when all this shit's over?
But now that shit has unfolded, he's gonna try to go and cash in on Highgarden. He's gonna go approach Tyrion in the next episode to try to get his, bounty of Highgarden. That's all it's gonna be.
I understand that. I just think that it's a little cheap that they even it was dumb to even bring that in and make that kind of a scenario. Like, oh, everyone's asking where's Bronn of the Blackwater. We're gonna bring him in real quick and have him threaten the Lannister guys, and then he's gonna show up. I would honestly be surprised if he shows up in this final episode, just because he's not a key component to what the ultimate end. We have 80 minutes left, and this is it of the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah,
And
he'll show up and he'll get killed off real quick. It'll be an undeserving death. He should have died probably whenever he dove to save Jamie from the dragon at the end of season. What was it? Six,
Oh,
seven,
was it 6?
middle
whichever one. Whichever one. Whenever he was trying to save Jamie, that's where he should have died. That character should have been dead then.
And you know what, Brandon, your assumption about Braun, I hope you're right. I mean, I hope that we see him this next episode, because that's another thing to chalk up on the board as something they've kind of, given
Pissed away. They pissed
Mhm.
it away. Yeah.
I mean, we can go on and on, but go ahead.
No, I'm not happy about the Braun situation either. I think that they didn't give him a proper ending. I think they should have killed him off.
Yep.
Saving his boy Jamie, but they let him live because he's a fan favorite. He's someone that people like to see on the screen. He screens well
Mhm.
for the audience or whatever. So they wanted to keep him around. Keep all those Braun fans happy. The same reason they kept Tormund around for so long with his dumbass jokes and shit is because there was a very select few people that liked it.
Yeah,
Awesome
he
people.
started to catch like a following in his
Yep.
own right. Yeah.
Yep.
Grey Worm is somehow still alive too.
Yeah, but Grey Worm is going to end up facing off with Jon Snow.
Like
I think that foreshadowing was very heavy that they're going to end up clashing.
Yeah, especially when Dany was just sitting in that room and gave Grey Worm the last piece of Miss Andy's like clothing or whatever that thing was.
It's
And
a
he-
slave collar.
Slave collar,
was
yeah.
it? Okay, well that makes sense now. And then he burned it, and John came in and she was like, "Let us talk," and he gave him that fucking look as he was passing him. Yeah, that was pretty intense. But I feel like Grey Worm is a really disposable character that another one that they kept just going for whatever reason. But yeah, I guess he'll try to defend Dany against John or something like that. But he doesn't have enough character depth for him to be alive at the last episode of the whole fucking show.
Oh, he just became lead SS. I mean, let's be real here. I mean, he just became I mean,
He became Heinrich Himmler.
pretty much. I mean, and I want to say that I'm probably happier than most people about the way and the fashion that Daenerys Targaryen turned out to be the ultimate villain in the show. Partially because I do not like her, and I, just like all of you guys, that kind of saw this coming. But it's very cheap, and it was unearned in the fact that they did it. Which we kind of, I mean, you give us 6 episodes, this is the product you're gonna get.
Yeah.
And this is, I know I hate to be a critic about it, and I'm gonna try my best for my own podcast to not sound like I'm harping on it, but
No, you don't. Let it out. Let it fucking out.
I think the internet agrees with us anyway.
yeah, dude, there's a couple of Game of Thrones podcasts I've been listening to since season 4, and it's baffling to me to hear them and the how they're describing it. They're talking about this like they're a bunch of, I don't know, man. It's like a super injustice to all of us fans. It's very cheap the way that they've gone about it, and they're not winning any awards this year. Let's be real about that. I mean,
Yeah.
this last episode is the lowest rated episode in all of Game of Thrones history.
Was it really?
It was like on Rotten Tomatoes, it was like a 50%, which I guess is really low for Game of Thrones.
Yeah. That's 50% is a shitty score for anything on that
But what were the
website.
viewer ratings?
Sky
I didn't
high. I'm
look.
sure.
I'm sure they were record highs for whatever,
Yeah, and we'll come back next week too. We have to see how it ends, no matter how upset we are.
And as much as we complain, I actually enjoyed the episode more than like the Battle of Winterfell, because now we don't have to complain about how dark it is. I mean, when you look at King's Landing, you see all the dragons, you see how everything unfolded. Entertainment value, it was a great episode. I was, on the edge of my seat. Go ahead.
Dragon.
Dragon, yeah.
they killed off the other dragons and
Yeah.
didn't give us that full visual of 3 dragons torching
Right.
a city, which
Mhm.
would have been fucking epic.
Oh yeah. But
Can
I
you
think-
imagine how cool that would have been if
I
You
think
have to
her
make it
heel turn, she had-
believable.
Ooh,
I
What's
think you
not-
had to. You had to. They had to at least give you a feeling that Cersei had somewhat of a chance.
I think it would have been cool if they had the 2 dragons stay alive till this last episode, and they both kind of burn the city for a while, and then Aegon gets a shot off. Is that his name?
Euron.
Euron. Yeah, sorry. And gets a shot off and takes out one of them during that episode. That would have been way cooler than them just somehow happening upon the Iron Fleet, and then he takes out one randomly.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think the only reason they did that is just for the shock value in episode 2, so that all of us talking heads on shows would talk about, oh, well, they're down to 1 dragon. What's going to happen now? 1 dragon still fucked up the city.
It doesn't make sense because like that the first or the when that dragon was taken out by that arrow fucking thing, they made it seem like that was just cake, and then episode 5 rolls around and this dragon is just tearing through shit like he owns the fucking place, and they can't hit him with anything. So which one is it?
It's not even that. They built 20, probably 30 scorpions, and they fired maybe 4 to 5 shots the entire time.
Well,
They made this episode was way too easy for Dany to just wreak havoc on King's Landing. It didn't make any sense.
I
This
thought
could have
she-
happened a long time ago.
I thought she did it smart. I mean, those. I mean, I thought her attack was smart. To be honest, I mean, dropping in from above. It's it's very hard to. It would be very hard for the Iron Fleet to hit her with the scorpions, and those things aren't. They can't turn them on a dime, and she can turn Drogon pretty quickly. So, and she came up from behind the scorpions when she when she breached the wall at King's Landing. So I don't know. I thought her going in the zigzag pattern she did made a little sense against the scorpions. I didn't have so much a problem with that as I did fucking Euron just showing back up for whatever reason to stab Jaime, and then he left. What? No.
well, when it happened, whenever he got blown off the ship, because apparently fire is explosive now, in case you didn't know. It's like shooting explosive rounds in Borderlands. It just explodes everywhere, like exploding stone walls and shit. What the fuck? But whenever he was exploded off of the deck of the ship, I looked and I said, he'll be back.
Yeah. I mean, I
He-
figured, but
He was going to get a little bit more of a death than that. And I mean,
and yet he never brought up, I don't believe, that he thought Cersei's baby was his.
He did say he fucked her though.
Right. But is Euron really gonna let that go? I mean, fucked her's one thing. Impregnated her, that's an even bigger slight. And Euron's not the type of guy to let that go.
does he know that she's pregnant though?
No, of course not. But he said, "I'm going to put a prince in you," so he probably thinks she is.
I was under the impression that he knew she was pregnant, but I could be wrong.
How convenient that the only surviving Ironborn ends up on the same beach as Jaime Lannister, and it happens to be Euron Greyjoy. How convenient.
Yeah,
Well, isn't Yara still around?
And also, another rule we should have gone by this entire seasons 1 through now. Only major characters can kill other major characters, because that's kind of the way it's set up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's definitely true.
That's the kind of way they're going. I mean, it's
Yeah, a White Walker didn't get a major character kill in episode 3.
they just hug everybody.
Unless you're, a lesser character, then they stab you through the face.
Yeah, well,
Right.
rest in peace, Ed.
Yeah. Hey, Zach, do you think that I know you said last episode and the episode before that you think all dragons are going to be dead by the end of the show. Do you
I
still
still-
think that? You still do?
Yeah. Yeah, I think either that or somehow the dragons are gonna turn on Dany or something like that. But I'm still kind of thinking, I don't know how now, I guess. But I'm still kind of thinking that the dragons will disappear. I mean, what is this last dragon gonna do? If Dany gets defeated by Jon or whatever, What is this dragon going to do? Like side with John or something? Is that the theory?
The ultimate plot twist is Dany's pregnant, and now she's conflicted and doesn't know what to do, and John just kills her anyway. Or Bran shows up, and I still think Bran Stark. Damn it! If Bran Stark does not have a character arc that pays off, I'm gonna write a letter to HBO. This is bullshit.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, his character arc died. When Zach mentioned that the dragons would turn on Dany, my first thought was instantly, it was like, that's how Sam comes back as a fucking wizard that can turn dragons into their pets.
There's still hope.
There's his shining moment.
I don't think they'll turn on her, but I like
he or she.
The one. Yeah.
I read somewhere that I guess this is true in the books, but the dragons are gender fluid.
That's so 2019.
I was like,
so we have to refer to them as a they.
Yeah, see? I'm right here.
Just make sure you say the correct pronoun.
Zim.
Zimzer.
We did finally get our Clegane bowl.
Yeah.
It was all right.
It lived up to my expectation.
Yeah,
I thought these two Goliaths battling it out with a fucking castle falling around them with fire. It was awesome, dude. That was cool as hell.
Yeah, it was a little predictable. Like, what's his name? The fire, the
hound.
The hound hurts him, and then he hurts them, and then they both die at the end. It's like, oh, that's great. You really tied it all together there.
Well, I mean, it's a
they
TV show.
They had to end both of their characters.
It had to show that both characters were strong, dude. You can't have the hound going out like a bitch.
Did anybody else laugh out loud when Qyburn got shoved into a rock and died?
Yes.
Oh my god.
That came out of nowhere.
That was awesome. He had one of the coolest deaths, but it was it's just his head split, dude.
He's like, Sagrego, you need to deal with your queen command. Oh, it's fucking dead.
God. The thing that I can't really get over is the fact that Cersei walked by the hound as if they were in the bread aisle at Walmart.
Yeah.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Excuse me, sir.
Like, what?
Madam.
One swing of your fucking sword and she could have been dead, but I guess
he wasn't.
He knew she was dead.
I guess she was going to bigger things to fucking worry about.
He had just told Arya, if you come up here with me, like, he pretty much knew Cersei's already dead. You don't need to kill her. Like, go save yourself. So he went up there, did his thing, which that was a little uncharacteristic of her as well. She went up there on a suicide mission, and then all it took for him was to go, no, don't do this. Don't be like me. And she's like, yeah, fuck this. I'm gonna go back to Winterfell. Like,
you're right.
Yeah, I kind of felt gypped by that.
Hey, Sander,
honestly.
Thank you.
So and then for her to go through all that trouble of going up there just to like try to survive through this dragon attack, that was a weird thing to have done. Like, what were we supposed to think that Arya was going to die during that? Was that like the suspenseful?
I think so.
The purpose said the whole purpose was to get I guess a view of the destruction that Dany was causing and all the mayhem, but they said it's boring if it's just extras, so they needed a main character to experience it, to, I guess,
make us feel like it was more significant than
right. Yeah.
If it's people we don't know and care about, then fuck it, burn them all. But if it's somebody we love, then we'll actually have a little sympathy. Spot on, HBO. You got us.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So I guess that prophecy is wrong, unless there's somebody else with green eyes that Arya is supposed to kill.
Dany has green eyes.
I thought Targaryens had purple eyes.
Yeah, but they took that part out of the show because Emilia Clarke doesn't have purple eyes, and it would have been too obvious for all of us.
Right?
No, I get that, but it would have been too obvious for all of us that pay this much attention to be like, oh, well, it's going to be Dany because she has purple eyes.
Oh, okay.
So that's at least what I had read.
And the prophecy in the book still says green eyes, right? They didn't change that, or did they?
It says green eyes. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty convinced right now that the book and the show are not going to have the same ending.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
the book's
Danny
gonna be way different.
Danny might go mad, but I don't know.
I think the Night King and the White Walkers will be way different in the books too. They're not just gonna let them go out like that.
At this point, I almost wish they would have just killed off the White Walkers last season, just so this whole season could have been dedicated to something, and instead of just trying to
Jump around.
half-ass two different things, whole ass one thing. I mean,
I agree
Yeah.
with that.
but
Yeah.
oh well.
Yeah. We've talked about several of the deaths that happened, but we really haven't mentioned the deaths of the most significant number of people other than the civilians, and that was the destruction of the Golden Company and the Lannister army.
Yeah, they didn't put up a fight at all.
Yeah, Golden Company, nope.
Yeah, they didn't put up a fight at all. They were destroyed as soon as the battle started. And then the Lannister army, they threw down their swords. They were quitting. The bells were sounding. I guess Danny couldn't hear over the sound of Drogon's wings. Maybe.
No, she heard.
Yeah, I just don't think she gave a fuck.
No, they had to have a point where she made a choice.
No, I know. I was
know.
just being, kind of an ass.
Oh, yeah.
When it came to the bells, kind of like the crypts, literally, not even figuratively, everything that this season has said, like, oh, the crypts are safe, we're going to the crypts. Oh, the crypts, and then everyone got murdered pretty much. When they kept referencing, oh, just ring the bells and drop your swords. Right when they said that, I was like, they're gonna ring the bells and they're gonna get slaughtered. And I was just like, because every time they reiterate that over and over, I'm like, nah, it's not how it's gonna go down. And
That's smart.
It's too convenient with the show, with this season, not the show, this season.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was the same way. I knew that the bells was the trigger because Tyrion had to say something about the bells at least 5 times.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. While we're on Tyrion, what did you guys think about the little scene with him and Jaime in the entrapment tent, I guess you could call it, where he freed him and told him to go and get Cersei and sneak her the fuck out of town and all that shit?
I liked it.
Showing compassion to his family.
Yeah.
Well, to Jaime, I don't think he gives a shit about Cersei, but he knows that she makes Jaime happy.
Yeah, that's true. I was going to say he's got to care a little bit because he was willing to try to sneak her out.
That act is going to get him killed. You realize that?
Yeah,
most likely.
I'm on board. I think Tyrion is probably dead next episode. I mean,
well, how would they know that he tried to do that?
Maybe they're gonna find a golden hand somewhere in the rubble.
Yeah.
Or the Unsullied was like, yeah, we left because the hand went in there and talked to him, and the next time we looked, they were both fucking gone.
Yeah.
If standing duty has taught me anything, there is a fucking logbook.
Yeah, I was going to say that is written in a logbook somewhere. Well, I mean, I think maybe even if Danny doesn't even mention that, he's probably still on her shit list for good.
Oh yeah. I mean, she said plain as day, next time you disappoint me, it'll be your last. Well, what would disappoint a mad queen? Letting go a hostage.
Yeah, that would not be good.
So, but I mean, I don't know. Does it matter at this point? I mean, she's obviously got what she wants.
Yeah, but she's still gonna. She got what she wants when the bell rang, and she's still just, burnt everybody to shit. So I think Tyrion's done.
For one small moment, I thought she was just going to go straight for Cersei.
I thought that too.
And leave the people out of it.
It would have made sense. It didn't make sense that she killed everybody. And it doesn't make sense that Cersei died the way that she did.
Yeah, that was pretty lackluster, I thought.
It's weird. I'm okay with the way Jaime died, but not Cersei in a way.
I'm not okay with Jaime's death either. They built Jaime to be this complicated character that was fighting to become this good person, and it's almost like every little good thing he did, he couldn't forgive himself. And then finally, it took Tyrion's little statement when they're walking up the stairs, and he's like, "No, you knew what she was. You said it last time, Brandon. You knew what she was doing, and you loved her anyway." And then with little Bronn's thing, and then whenever she went and saw Sansa and Brienne, and she's like, "Man, I always wish I would have been there to see your sister get executed." And I think when Jamie, realized, hey, I need to go back there and be with Cersei, but I was hoping that he was going to go kill her, and turns out he just was bitch made.
I think his little ending goes back to the first episode where he shoves Bran out the window and he says, "The things we do for love." That sums up his whole trip back to King's Landing. He did it all for love, and the things he'll do is apparently kill him. Well, not kill himself, but basically seal his own fate by going back there and going into all that destruction.
But we didn't need everything else then. It was just like what was the point of this seasons 1 through 6 ride of Jamie turning into some, I don't know. It just,
You want to know what it was? In the books, he probably never fucking leaves Cersei's side, and they kill off Tormund when we say that Tormund died. The whole reason for this was so that they could keep Tormund's character alive a little bit longer.
It was worth it.
Brandon loves him some Tormund, man. I swear.
I just like trying to get under Garth's skin more than anything, but Tormund was okay until his jokes became
until this season
too
basically.
much. Yeah.
until he became Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah.
Until they tried to sprinkle in 3 or 4 Tormund jokes an episode.
Mm-hmm.
He's okay in small doses. We'll say that.
Yeah. The show creators found something that people latched onto and were like, "Oh, you like that? We'll give you more." And then it just became too much birthday cake.
Like Boba
as
Fett.
Brandon likes to say.
It was like a Boba Fett issue.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Star Wars, I mean, Danny pretty much executed Order 66 pretty damn quick.
Yeah. God. I think, you obviously see the moment, in at least John and Davos's face when they know that they're no longer on her side. So we'll, I think that'll be interesting. Grey Worm will go down with her, I assume.
That's why I said earlier that John and Grey Worm were destined to battle it out, because that look whenever Grey Worm picked up the spear and threw it through the chest of the Lannister, and he looked back and John was trying to hold the men of the North back. That look that he had then was like, "I'm gonna kill your ass."
It was almost like that was, he thought treasonous, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure. Because he knows nothing but like extreme loyalty. So he doesn't care that Danny's burning the whole city. He's like, "Well, this is what we're doing.
If that's what she's doing, I'm on board. Let's do this."
And he's probably got some vengeance in him himself. I mean, I think they tried to show that with him just lopping people's heads off and stuff.
Yeah, they took his girl.
It's hard to take him serious though whenever you see him on, Facebook, Instagram, dancing with a megaphone, doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's hard to take him serious as a pissed off killer.
He's never been very intimidating to me. I don't know why.
He's not.
Yeah, I think it's because he's not.
He's built like LaMelo Ball.
And he doesn't have a dick.
Yeah, that somehow makes him not as scary.
I think the hard thing for me to accept is that Miss Sandy, Grey Worm, and Amelia Clark or Danny, what ultimately started this whole "we don't care for Westeros" or "they don't care for us," is the fact that they weren't accepted, that they felt like they were not looked at as equal, because we knew this was coming. You knew this was coming. People aren't just going to accept you. Targaryens have always been viewed as evil. The only reason that people peacefully were under you is because no one wanted to get burnt by your fucking dad. And so she goes over there and they're like, "Oh, everyone's still a slaver, racist person." I'm like, no, slavery's not a problem here. Y'all are just from Essos and you're in the North, which is they're very proud of their people. And so I don't know. I was like, y'all are weak-minded if this is really what's going to set y'all apart from everybody.
I can see it.
Yeah, and I think the people in Essos don't necessarily have the same thought of the Targaryens like people in Westeros do, because obviously Westeros is a lot closer to where the Mad King would have stayed and would have really fucked with people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just think about it in today's terms, and like if I were to just go over to England and be like, "Hey, Queen, you're not in charge anymore. I am." The people of England probably wouldn't like it any more than she would.
Yeah.
So the same thing, like the people of Westeros aren't just gonna like some blonde-haired woman they've never seen before saying, "Hey, I'm in charge of all of you now."
Yep.
Well, Westeros already
Right.
didn't like the Targaryens. They didn't like Robert or the Targaryens. There's this huge misconstrued ideology that Aunt Dany has had since day one that she is the rightful heir. Your family got kicked out of King's Landing, rightfully so, in battle, as happens to other families, and you guys lost. You're not the rightful heir to shit, and your family is not liked by anybody as more than the Baratheons. Like, and then I think a lot of casual Game of Thrones fans bought into that theory of, oh, this is all about Dany. She's fire and ice and blah 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 blah. And no, she never was. I think this was the collision course, books and show. She was always headed. I don't know if the book she's going to be as violent as she was in this last episode, but I think that ultimately the character arc for Dany is you start loving her. She's trying her hardest to not be her father, and ultimately she can't skew away from the idea that she is a Targaryen. She is ultimately the product of what she is. I mean,
But John is not.
Yeah. The half Stark and John probably keeps him balanced.
Well, the is it the half Stark or that he's not whole Targaryen, as
Right.
in a product of incest?
yeah, let's
Yeah.
call it what it is. He is not a product of incest.
Yeah, I'm sure that helps.
One question I had: where did all the Dothraki come from?
That's what I had this same question.
I thought they were all dead. I mean, we're given the impression they're all dead.
Well, I think they showed like maybe 4 or 5 running back,
Right,
There's
with
Davos,
Jorah, with
Or
Jorah,
Jorah,
and yeah,
yeah, but still not enough to.
not
I mean,
enough to have. Pretty much, it looked like 50% of them.
Yeah,
That is
that
a good
didn't
force.
make any sense.
They're hanging out at Margaritaville at Dragonstone the whole time.
No, I mean that's one of. I mean, that was one of the reasons we're supposed to believe Cersei has a chance, is that the Dothraki are gone. Most, like 50% of Village are gone, because that's what Grey Worm said. So, I mean, she's down to like 25% of her original army and a dragon.
Mhm.
But now the
Magic.
Dothraki are back. Yeah, no.
Sam
But-
learned magic, and one of the skills that he learned is how to revive people without not making them walkers.
Right, right. And
He just-
Tormund's going to ride in on Ghost and save them all.
No, he's not. He's probably
Yeah.
going to try to suck milk from ghost teats.
So he'd probably become a werewolf. That's badass.
A giant's werewolf.
Yeah.
Giant's wolf.
He would have to
Giant's
change
wolf.
his name. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so that's what's in the cards for Tormund going forward with Game of Thrones. But what about for some of our actual characters that are relevant?
Well, we haven't talked about
Um,
Arya.
That's the person that I was about to mention. Arya. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like everybody was so high on their horse that Arya was, queen shit when she killed the Night King, and now she's scared and running away from a little castle falling down. And dragons.
Dragon.
Dragon. Thank you, Zach.
Yeah, that's a good point though. Like I said earlier, what was the point of sending her to King's Landing if she was just going to be like, nah, and then?
Well, I think watching the episode, I at least felt some suspense, thinking that holy shit, Arya and Jaime are going to get to Cersei at the same time.
That would have been cool.
And I think it'd have been a lot fucking cooler than what happened.
Like, imagine, if you will, that Arya met Jaime and Cersei down in that little bunker area where they ended up dying.
I wanted her to kill Jaime, take his face, kill her, and
Oh, you wanted
been
the
amazing.
whole thing. See, I kind of was picturing Arya getting there where Jaime's there to defend Cersei. He draws his sword, she draws his, she slays the Night Slayer or the King Slayer. So now she's the Night King Slayer and the King Slayer Slayer. Tracking?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay. And then she gets to take out Needle. Needle makes its glorious return, and she gets to stick Cersei with the pointy end. And then she becomes the Queen Slayer. But
She's all
no,
the slayers.
she got to, yeah. And then cut to credits, Raining Blood by Slayer. So it would, I mean, HBO right here.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
I actually read it wasn't HBO's fault. I heard that they were recommending 10-episode seasons, and the showrunners were like, "Nah, we can do this in 6."
We're tired. We're done.
That's what it is. We're fucking lazy.
I'll tell you what, if I'm Bob Iger, CEO of Disney, and I'm seeing this shit product, I'm stripping that Star Wars trilogy that I just signed them, and I'm telling them to go fuck themselves.
You know, somebody else that I was talking to today said the same exact thing. So a lot of people have that thought and that idea. It might cost them a job. I think it has before for show writers, right?
Yeah. Here's one thing we haven't talked about. Speaking of Arya, she has probably the coolest superpower, or whatever you want to call it, in that she can put a fucking face on of some other person, and she hasn't used it all season. She just like, my face is fine.
Well, I mean, they would have had to have created an opportunity for her to
Killing Cersei.
Like, yeah, that's what I was saying, like killing Cersei. You know, but I think part of it is she doesn't automatically take on somebody's personality. You know, she can be another face in the crowd, but if she's, let's say she is Jaime Lannister, she has to at least know his mannerisms and how to speak to Cersei and stuff like that. So I think it makes it more difficult than we think, but I still would have liked to have seen it.
I get what you're saying. Like she
Yeah.
has to know how to be that person that she's
Right. Now, if you're just a
impersonating.
faceless assassin in the crowd, who gives a fuck? You know,
Sure.
if you're a peasant girl, but if you're, you don't automatically, like I said, get that person's personality.
I'm happy to see she's still alive, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen with her this next episode. But I was convinced she was going to die. She's walking right next to the Hound. They're sneaking into King's Landing. He's got his hood on, and she's just like, I don't give a shit. I'm Arya Stark, and here I go. And she's marching in there like fucking Boots from fucking Dora the Explorer. She's just marching in there like, I got a mission. And it is just like, I don't know. I thought she should have died. I thought that there should have been more of a build up to her going to King's Landing, and we didn't get that payoff. And it's just, I don't know. It's, Zach, you're a Star Wars fan, right? This feels like when I walked out of The Last Jedi.
Pretty much. Yeah. It's like the older stuff is great, and then as it gets newer, it becomes shittier. It's weird.
You build up all, The Last Jedi, I don't know if Garth, Brandon, if you're Star Wars fans, but they leave off The Force Awakens where Rey is about to give Luke his lightsaber back, and this is like a pivotal moment where he's about to finally get it back. The first thing he does is he takes it, goes, and he throws it in the water. And you're just like, what the? And that was like a big fuck you to the fans. And that's kind of like this season is just progressively they don't address certain things that are, now they've become very uncharacteristic for a lot of these people. And you set up Arya to go to to go to King's Landing and die, and she out of nowhere just has a change of heart because the Hound's like, no, you don't want to be like me. And she goes, yeah, you're probably right. I'm gonna turn around and go home, like Forrest Gump or some shit. It just didn't make sense.
And that brings up the question that everyone begs to ask: where does she go next?
Maybe she kills Dany.
I mean, I think that's what we're supposed to think.
What if she kills Grey Worm and then uses his face finally to kill Dany or some shit like that? She's got to
no
do fucking
per-
something here.
Yeah, he's got no fucking personality. That'd be easy.
I think
Right.
John has to kill Danny. I think it's going to be John.
Do you think John will kill Arya?
I don't think
No.
John can kill Danny.
Yeah, I don't know if John is going to kill anyone again in this show. He doesn't want to anyway.
No, he doesn't want to do any fucking thing.
He's
Yeah.
never really wanted to be a soldier. He just is kind of raised that way.
I mean,
Besides
he
want to go to the Night's Watch, but
well, he was forced to do that anyway because he was a bastard and he couldn't stay in Winterfell because he wasn't a Stark. So there was nothing for him to do. He didn't want to be a fucking member of the Night's Watch, and then he just somehow found himself the leader of it. And then he found himself trying to conjure up enough people to fight the White Walkers. And now that's done. And now he has to hold up his end of the bargain to Dany. And he's like, this sucks because now she's a fucking mad queen.
do you guys watch or have you watched Lord of the Rings? Were you fans of that at all?
Years ago, yeah.
When that white horse rode into King's Landing, did that remind you at all of I can't remember the name of the horse now.
I
The
know
white
what you
horse.
mean.
Yeah.
Well, I'm older. My first thought when I saw that white horse was Artex.
Yeah, you got me beat.
Yeah, never-ending story, motherfuckers. The horse that dies in the swamp of sadness.
Yeah, see, all I remember is Falcor.
Yeah, my dog growing up was named Falcor.
I got a golden
Anyway.
retriever that looks like Falcor.
Yeah, but no, I know I know the movie moment you're talking about. Yeah, but no, my first thought was Artex. Sorry.
I thought, God damn it, Arthur, why'd you have to whistle and your white Arabian run through the King's Landing?
I mean, okay, that was another thought that hey, it's a white Arabian.
Yeah, I instantly thought Arthur Morgan whistled for his horse.
There's theories online that Bran warged into the horse and went to save Arya.
Motherfucker, no.
I was like, shut the fuck up. Like, no. Let's stop.
No. Like, no.
I think he
He
can
did,
only
though.
warg into a raven anyway.
Really?
I mean, has he ever warged into anything else?
He
Hodor.
warged into his wolf before. He's
Oh, has
warged
he?
into Hodor.
Okay.
If you can warg into a human, which apparently nobody else can, I would assume a horse is fair game.
Yeah, I would too, but not this one.
Yeah.
Well, no, but
Yeah. Too
I mean-
convenient. Although everything's been too convenient, so who knows?
I mean,
Speaking of too convenient, both me and my wife were like, okay, how is this short ass little girl gonna jump up on a horse that doesn't have a saddle on it? And of course, they didn't show how she got on the horse.
well, I mean,
That's
she's got
Too
she's got-
convenient.
she's got some fucking ups. I mean, if you saw her jumping at the Night King, so
Did you guys know how short she was?
Not,
Which-
I don't know the number, but I
When
can
she
tell
was
she's hella
walking,
short.
when she was walking beside the hound, I was like, "Holy crap, she is tiny."
Yeah, but how
Uh,
tall is the Hound? Isn't he like 6'3", 6'4"?
Oh, I don't know how tall he is. I thought that at one point that it was just like, oh, well, it's forced perspective to make him look even taller because they were building up to him going to fight the mountain,
Mm-hmm.
so they
Right.
wanted to make him look bigger. Classic WWE.
Maisie Williams is 5'1".
5'1".
Oh,
So she's pretty short.
She's
but
like almost a foot shorter than I am.
beside the hound, it just looked so funny. Go back and watch it again. Like you'll be like, oh god, that is like a child walking beside a grown man.
And then the actor that plays the Hound is 6'6".
So it's
Okay,
real
yeah.
funny.
Gigantic.
damn.
how tall's the mountain? Half
He's
Lord
like,
Bjornsson.
like
Is he
7
6'8"?
He's like 7'12",
7'.
like
He's-
694 pounds or something. He's a monster.
He's like the world's strongest man for like
6'9".
4 or 5 years in a row. Yeah,
He's-
seven.
he-
He's close
he's
to
what-
7 foot.
He's,
What was
he's
he?
as tall 6'9". That's as tall as LeBron.
Okay. It's a
Yeah.
big boy.
Did y'all catch kind of off the topic of Arya Stark, but the beginning of the episode with Varys, I was a little confused at first. The first time I watched with the little girl, his little bird coming in, and she's like, I feel like they're watching me, and she's like, she's not eating, and he's like, oh, we'll try again later for dinner. I'm pretty certain
Poison?
I'm pretty certain he was trying to poison her.
Danny?
I
Yeah.
thought that too. I
Wow.
was like, damn, Bears.
Because I was trying to think, what was the significance of this little girl like talking, and I'm like, okay, like
Unless
these-
she brought supper to her and was just trying to get information, but I don't know. That's a good point.
I instantly thought poison. I'm with you, Adam. But yeah, that also makes sense. It could just be like
intel.
kind of getting the info.
It'd be a
I
lot
don't know.
juicier if she.
I like the idea that he was trying to poison her.
Yeah, I like it. We'll go with that.
It's sad because this is the
Do you
last
think there was any significance? Do you think there was any significance to him placing the rings in the goblet or whatever, or was it just I know I'm about to fucking die? I'm just gonna take off my nice shit and leave it here.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, just him preparing for death.
Yeah,
But who gives a fuck about your ring if you're gonna be dead?
I mean, maybe he wanted to leave it where Tyrion would find it or something like that, even though he probably already knew that Tyrion ratted
And
him
what
out.
was that? What was that letter that he was writing that he just lit on fire?
It was the same one he's been writing for nights, that Jon is the true heir to the Iron Throne and all that.
So
Yeah.
I think he burnt it just to kind of conceal the fact that whoever's coming in might see. I think he knew. I mean, there's marching, there's multiple footsteps. So
Yeah,
I think he knew that was happening, so he burned it because he knew he was about to be burned for telling that secret.
Some of this shit in the show, like, what was the point?
Did he ever get a raven out?
I
We'll
never
find
saw
out.
one.
Yeah.
I mean,
what's
we
it
have
matter at this
we
point?
have a whole episode left, man. We're gonna find out so much.
Yeah, maybe that little girl was spreading his like theories or whatever out into the
Oh,
world.
I'm sure she was. I'm
Hey,
sure she was.
subscribe to my Raven podcast.
That's what he was doing. He was sending out,
Yeah,
he's got a few
new
little
episode
people
posted.
share it. Yep.
It was cool to see though. A lot of people. I mean,
Twitter.
I enjoyed the whole Varys introduction, and it was kind of like a callback to Eddard Stark. He's did everything that he wanted to for the realm to try to help the good of the people, and he's trying to send out the truth behind Joffrey and the rest of the Baratheon kids, kind of like what Varys is doing, the same parallel, and
That's good.
just kind of to show like, hey, Dany's not any better than anybody else. She's just another tyrant.
That's good. Good point. I like that.
We got any theories for the last
What
episode?
do you guys think is going to?
Go ahead, Brandon.
Oh, we back? That sounds we kind of fucked up for a minute.
Yeah, go ahead with what you were saying.
Oh, I said, what do you guys think going forward with Sansa and Brienne? Did they ever make it down south?
I don't think so. I think some. Well, I was gonna say I think they're gonna go back up north, but I don't know why they would. But I don't know why they would come down south.
I mean, Arya's on a horse, so that's like time travel. So
Yeah,
maybe
she's probably there already.
Yeah, she's probably there now, telling them everything and bringing them back for next week.
And they'll be back already by now, by the
Yeah.
next episode.
Yeah, probably.
And it'll only be like 2 days.
That makes sense.
That's
Maybe
probably that's no shit. Probably what will fucking happen.
Maybe they'll have hot pie with them too, just because.
Tormund will be with Ghost.
Yeah, because he's got to tell everybody that he saw the White Walkers up north.
I think
True.
Sansa will stay up in Winterfell because she could travel down to King's Landing, but they could do it because of time travel, because of the way the show has been. But it would be one of the dumbest things they have done thus far, which I guess they could just put the cherry on top. I still think Bran is a key player to this. I think that this
He fucking
three-eyed
better
Raven,
be.
how else are they going to beat Dany and her dragon and the rest of her military? Because the North, a lot of the North people that were with Jon, a lot of them got beat by the Lannisters too. It's not like it was completely one-sided. A lot of them got killed too. It's not like they're walking away unscathed. So I don't think Jon and whoever's down there with him are going to be able to fight Dany unless maybe Varys, Ravens got to all the other highborn people, which there shouldn't be any anyway. Like, who was he writing to?
The Citadel, maybe.
I bet the Citadel, they're probably writing about this event And they're like, "Oh, it's the Battle of King's Landing," and then she flew in after the bells and started letting. And she was like, "They're like, oh, the massacre at King's Landing."
Yeah.
The original line out.
Yeah,
Put your initials at the end of it.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think Zach, you were asking if anybody had any final thoughts or theories that would lead us up until the season finale, series finale episode next week. So anybody have anything that they just absolutely 100% it will happen next week?
I think Arya might kill Danny because I don't think John will, because he obviously knows that it's not right for them to, be together anymore or whatever, but he still has some sort of feeling with her. So yeah, I'm gonna say that Arya's gonna kill the Mad Queen so she can be the Mad Queen Slayer.
Wow. Too bad she's not the Kingslayer Slayer. That would have been sweet.
You guys have any theories?
I'm with the Arya thing. I think she'll kill Danny.
I mean, if she doesn't, what a waste.
Yeah. If she doesn't at least play a major role. Yeah, I think it'll be shitty. I think the shittiest ending is that Danny still wins.
This might change by Sunday, but I think John will. This might change next hour. Who knows? I think John is going to kill Danny. I think Tyrion is going to die. I think Tyrion's going to be burnt alive or whatever. There's no need for him anymore. If anything, it will just be a sad. Yeah.
Imagine the same setup as whenever Varys was killed, but put Tyrion in Varys's place, and Jon steps up in front of Tyrion and is like, "No, if you want to burn him, you have to go through me or whatever." And then she's like, "Fine, Dracarys, fire." And then they both one just walks out. Jon just walks out,
And gives her the look that the Night King gave her. Just a little fucking smile.
Or they
Oh,
both
God.
walk out because the showrunners probably did a poll with all the fans, like, "Hey, who do you want to be the secret Targaryen?"
That's why I initially said both, is because let him be
And
like a
Tyrion's a Targaryen.
Imagine that.
I think it'll be
Surprise.
dwarves are impervious to fire, and we just didn't know it.
That's fair.
That's just as logical, I guess. So-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goes along with time travel and everything else.
And I think Bran
Or
is
maybe
going to be
maybe Sam.
Wizard Sam. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, wizard.
Sam the Wizard.
Yep.
He
I
has
think-
Go ahead.
I think Bran is still a key component to this. Of all the shocking bullshit we've witnessed thus far, if they do not come full circle with Bran, to where somehow he is the ultimate, secret weapon or the ultimate bad guy or the ultimate, savior to this, then this is the biggest letdown in the entire fucking world. Like, you cannot build this guy then what is the purpose of a 3-eyed raven? To beat the Night King in 2 hours? That doesn't make sense.
he didn't even beat him.
You want to know? I don't actually have anything predicted for the first 78 minutes of this episode, but my prediction for the final 2 minutes of the episode is that it shows Winterfell all snowy and still recovering from the big war that was there and all that stuff, and it's kind of in shambles. And then it goes around to the Weirwood tree, and Bran has been warging. We see him with his eyes rolled back in his head, and he's warging. And then he snaps to, and he says, "Winter is coming." And then it goes to credits.
I mean, HBO did Sopranos, right? I mean, what if we get a Sopranos ending?
Bran just
Yep.
looks up and then it cuts.
Or like another Dexter? I mean, a lot of these shows, there's only been a handful of them that actually nail the ending of the show correctly, or at least in a decent manner. This could just fall in line with Dexter and all the other shows that didn't have the greatest ending, which is ultimately, at this point, there
Par
is
for
no
the
good
course.
ending. I think the bittersweet ending is that it's just fucking over.
Yeah, now we can look forward to the
The
little
Watchmen.
or the side shows that they're gonna make.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
spin-offs. or
Spinoffs. That's what I
whatever.
was looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, keeping up with the Targaryens.
The one that's
Don't
left.
give them any more ideas. Don't give them any ideas, please.
Oh gosh.
All right. Well, that's all. That's all the stuff that I really had queued up to talk about. Thank you guys for coming on. Why don't you let everybody know where to find you, Adam? Find your podcast and all that good stuff.
Yes, I was going to record an episode tonight, but I believe my guest, my buddy Matt Leonardo, the book reader, he's going to be on tomorrow night. I'll be recording another episode of Castle Black Bourbon and Coffee. I basically go into very intricate details about different theories and different parts of the show, as you guys were last week, which the final episode I would love to have, if you three want it, Garth, if you'd like to come on and discuss what happens at the end of the show. But you can find me on Podbean. You can find me on iTunes at The Bearded Ballista. I love fan theories. I love when people send me, whether it's dumb or whatnot or good, thebeardedballista@gmail.com, or send me a direct message on Instagram at the @bearded_ballista.
And Garth's Tumblr is still out there.
If
To
y'all
be
can find
found.
it, it's out there, y'all.
What's on it?
Oh, buddy. Buddy.
It's mostly relationship.
We
advice.
we don't have time to get into this right now. Thanks for listening. We'll be back with our regular episode on Friday, and we'll be back with the final episode of our Game of Thrones Got Thoughts next week, next Monday. And I'm sure all of our minds will be blown.